Hi, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be all about drugstore makeup. So I have some pro tips that I would like to share with mainly beginners who are using drugstore makeup. So these are just like pro tips that I have, are like little techniques that you can use to make your makeup look more expensive, I guess you can say, or just like more high-end. So these are like just some pro tips that I use and I just like came up with, or that that I already know when it comes towards like drugstore makeup. So these tips are techniques are really good for beginners. So, like if you're just getting into makeup, or even if you want to become a professional makeup artist, you can actually use these tips or like techniques on your clients.
School them, man, I got that.
So the first thing is knowing your skin type. So you want to make sure, especially if you have like sensitive skin also too, like you don't want to be using like really harsh products on your skin, because then your skin is going to break out, and then it's like you're going to be using makeup to try to cover that up. So you want to basically have like some sort of blueprint about what you're about to do with this makeup, so before you even like go shopping for drugstore makeup. So just have like a little mini blueprint. So the next thing is, so this is just like a little tip. So when you're shopping for drugstore makeup, of course you want to get things that are like affordable. Some drugstore makeup products are actually like overpriced, like in my opinion. But for me, I would spend like a little extra money on primer. So just know what type of primer that you need, and I would just spend like just a little bit of extra money on primer. So it's almost like you're investing in primer, because the primer is like really important for you to like prep your skin. So you want to make sure you want your makeup to last all day. So I would spend like a little extra money on primer. Okay, so the next tip that I have is for cream products. So this could be concealer or even foundation. So this is like a major pro tip. So you can actually put the product like on the back of your hand, and just that will basically allow it to like warm up. But of course you want to make sure your hands are sanitized, especially like if you are doing makeup on a client. So make sure your hands are sanitized before you even apply the product on the back of your hand. But this is like a major pro tip. Like by you doing this, it's just going to allow the product to like really loosen up and just like warm up, so it'll be like more easier to apply onto your face or your client's face. Okay, so the next tip or technique that I have is when you apply your concealer, especially the LA Girl concealer, because that one is like a little bit it's like more so liquid than cream. But if you apply that onto your face like how you're doing like a regular highlight, let it sit on your face, and that will give it like 10 times more coverage than what it usually does. So the next technique is spraying your face with a makeup setting spray, or even like a prepping spray also. So you can do that, but this is basically you spraying your face several times while doing your makeup. So that will really give you like a flawless finish when you're doing that. So you can actually do this step after you apply your concealer, before you even blend it out. So like while you're letting your concealer like sit on your face, you can spray your face with a makeup setting spray, and then blend it out. So another tip or technique that I have is using a liquid highlighter before you apply your foundation. So this is like after you apply your primer, then use like a little bit of liquid highlighter before you apply your foundation. Especially if you're using like a liquid foundation, you can just use a liquid highlighter before you apply your foundation, and this will really like transform the foundation and make it look more high-end, especially in photos. Like you will definitely see a difference in photos.
Got this. I don't need that one. Yeah, I got this.
Okay, so the last tip, I was gonna make this like the first one, and I forgot to write it down. So this is the last tip or technique. Well, actually this is more so like a tip or advice. So for beginners, when you're using like drugstore foundation, sometimes like people apply too much at one time. So you want to make sure, just depending on like what type of look you're trying to go for, like are you trying to go for more natural or sheer, or are you trying to go for more like full coverage? So you want to make sure that you're applying like just a thin layer first and then just build up on that, because like you can turn like a sheer foundation into like a full coverage. Okay, so those are my pro tips on drugstore makeup. So this is like really good for beginners and people who want to get into makeup, but I feel like if you use these little pro tips that I shared with you, it's like it's gonna take your drugstore makeup to like a whole nother level. So feel free to leave a comment below if you have any like pro tips or like tips on drugstore makeup, or if you're going to use these pro tips that I've shared with you in this video. So that's pretty much the end of this video. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.